What would you do if you suddenly and totally unexpectedly found yourself in a place where an active shooter, someone with a weapon, was suddenly attacking and firing upon people in a commercial building, a school, a church, or some other place where you just happened to be? Some advanced knowledge of what to do and how to respond can make a critical difference in the time between an active shooter begins a rampage and when the police and law enforcement arrives. The average response time is fairly short, only about 5 minutes, but a lot can happen in that period of time. In the wake of several shooting incidents in recent weeks and an ongoing pattern of violent mass shootings occurring with some regularity, a previously scheduled informational and training session based on the ALICE principles, alert, lock down, inform, counter, and evacuate, conducted by Corporal Chris Mason of the Manchester Police Department in conjunction with the Vermont Department of Health, drew a substantial crowd to Riley Rink at Harner Park on Wednesday, August 14th, to hear his presentation, which he's given several times before. The basic idea of ALICE, alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and evacuate, is to be aware of your environment and what to do if faced with a sudden active shooter emergency. Depending on the circumstances, people may opt to barricade doors or find safe hiding places, or in certain circumstances, counter the would-be killer with noise and distraction. It also explores ways of safely getting out of buildings while under duress.
Think about what are you going to do, or what would I do right now if an active shooter walked in my door? Where would I go? What would I do? That's something to think about. Again, don't live in fear, don't live in paranoia. Just have that cautionary yellow. Be in that yellow stage. Situational awareness, okay? And this is for if you are barricaded, if you're locked down, secure in place, you've got no other exit, this is your last resort, okay? If it's just you and that shooter comes in, you want to make a lot of noise. It doesn't matter if you scream at him, whatever. Move around. Don't stay in one spot. A fire extinguisher works great because it not only is a heavy item, but it is able to discharge a white cloud, which creates some sort of concealment.
Those attending also heard from Thomas Crow, a retired Bennington policeman who now works with the Winhall Police and Rescue, about helping injured people by learning how to apply tourniquets and other measures to stop bleeding until the first aid responders can arrive.
You don't have anything to make a tourniquet? Put your knee right to it. Use direct pressure. We say elevation. If it's an arm, you could raise the arm. That'll help. Direct pressure, elevation. If you have to, and that doesn't stop it, go to your tourniquet. Now, having said that, I'd go to the tourniquet first, because now it's there.
The session was a useful one, said Jerry Gilmore, one of those attending the meeting.
In this day and age, it's best to be prepared for anything. And even though we are in a small community, I believe it can happen anywhere. And I'm grateful that we had the opportunity to get some skills to be able to handle a situation like that.
The Vermont Department of Health is also involved in helping educate the public on safety measures, said Dee Mirvang of the Health Department.
The state of Vermont has taken an active lead in training around the state on this issue, active shooter awareness, and they're going into businesses, schools, helping with emergency operation plans.
You got your cello on?
And helping so that people have the basic skills they need to be able to do something in a situation like this. Why the Department of Health? We have a really unique opportunity with our Medical Reserve Corps. So our Medical Reserve Corps is managed through the Department of Health, and it's volunteers all over the state of Vermont. I would say right now we have over 450 people registered, background checked, and ready to go in an emergency. So part of the problem when you have an emergency is you can't activate volunteers unless they've gone through some clearances. So with our Medical Reserve Corps, we're able to have volunteers ready to go. This is the type of training that my Medical Reserve Corps volunteers have asked for. They know that that it's provided for state employees and certain folks, but they said the citizens want this type of training. So we were able to use A model they used up in St. Albans that I mentioned is now going to be rolled out throughout the state, and we're one of the first to do it down here in southern Vermont. And as you could see by the attendance today, people are really looking for skill sets, knowledge, education on what can we do in a situation like active shooter.
Another Alice training session is planned for next month in Bennington. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.